Hello everyone, welcome back to Vedic Enigma. I hope all of you are doing great. And this video is going to be in English and it is on Venus conjunction with all the planets. And I will also be taking up comments from the comment section, the ones that were not answered previously with Venus conjunctions. But before we start this video, I would really appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will really mean a lot to me. So let's begin the video. So Venus, as we know, it is the planet of beauty, luxury, and it's a very feminine energy and very creative, artistic, and everybody wants to run behind Venus, in today's day and age. And it becomes a very important planet because to have comfort in life, to be able to feel happy in life, we see that we are living in Kali Yuga, so we are not living in Satyug. And in Kali Yuga, all the Rajasic planets like Venus, Mercury, they gain more importance and prominence, and along with Rahu also. So we will talk about that in conjunctions also, that how this affects your life. But they gain prominence and they become super important. So that is why even if you see the consultations that people do, and like the people who go with their problems to different astrologers. So most of them are revolving around marriage, or it is around money, or it is about your career. So they are all the domains that are actually controlled by the Rajasic planets. But we see that Venus is also a very soft energy, just like Moon, and it gets influenced very easily. So if there are malefic planets aspecting conjunct Venus, then it will start feeling very uncomfortable. It does not have that strength to actually like tolerate all the harshness of the cold planets like Saturn, like Mars. So it becomes very submissive in those aspects. At the same time, we see that Venus gets exalted in the sign of Pisces. So it shows that it has a very selfless devotion towards everything. Like, in order for you to experience true love, true devotion, you have to do some things unconditionally. You cannot put conditions that if you do this for me, only then I will love you. So then that Venus does not feel the best. And exactly opposite to it, we see that Venus gets debilitated in the sign of Virgo, and Virgo is about criticizing people. It is about pointing out flaws in people, and it also has a very logical practical approach. So that is why they say that you cannot be very logical practical when it comes to love. If you truly love somebody, you will love them in whatever way they are. That is what Venus is trying to show us. And we will be talking about the conjunctions, but before that, it is very important to study the conjunctions properly in your chart. Like if there are a lot of, like if two planets that are conjunct Venus, or any planet conjunct Venus is very far away from Venus, then that conjunction will be taken to be quite weak. But if the planets are within like 4 to 6 degrees, then you can say that, okay, yes, it's a strong conjunction to have. So degrees matter a lot. You have to take into respect the degrees of the planets that are conjoined Venus, and obviously the sign in which the conjunction is occurring will have a lot of impact on the overall conjunction. So let's start with the first planet, that is Mars. So we know that Mars in astrology is a very hot-headed kind of a planet. It is very aggressive. It's red in color, and it represents a very dynamic, active type of an energy. So when Venus and Mars are conjunct, it shows that firstly, it makes a person very passionate, very romantic when it comes to expressing their love, when it comes to expressing creativity. They have a lot of power and enthusiasm in them. They are very dynamic. And it also shows that they are very hardworking and put in a lot of effort in love and relationships, and also in earning money. Because Venus represents your wealth, it represents luxury, it represents your wife also, and also your girlfriend. So it also shows that your spouse and your girlfriends will have characteristics related to Mars. So they could be involved in gymming. They will be very like, they can be dominating also at times, very aggressive, impulsive. And also the native themselves, they don't think a lot before jumping into love. They are very, and even before spending money also. So those things are something that they need to be a little bit, they need to have a bit of patience when it comes to love, relationships, spending money, enjoying in life, like pleasure related things, because they tend to be, they don't think a lot before doing those things. So Mars has a very impulsive rush kind of an energy. And that is the downside of this conjunction. But you will see this conjunction happening in very famous celebrities, like people who are, artists, people who sing, because it gives a lot of like push and enthusiasm for Venus to express itself really well over here. And you will also see with this conjunction that the native's wife, like if you are a male, so your wife or your girlfriend will be short in height. She can be quite athletic, especially if it is occurring in the signs of Aries, or if it's happening in Virgo, then she will be very health conscious. She will be very focused on her looks. So that kind of a thing is seen. But if it happens in signs like Cancer or like in Pisces, then we can say that especially in Cancer, we can say that she will be very strong emotionally, mentally. And in Pisces, that dynamic, active type of energy might not be there. So you see that how the sign is also making a lot of difference in this conjunction. And we also see that the place where they will stay, like, their society colony could have like a Hanumanji temple nearby, or they could have a gym, nearby, a police station, or some army place, that is also seen from Mars. So this kind of an environment would be there surrounding the native where they will be staying. And it also shows that with this conjunction, they can be quite aggressive also when it comes to like, seeking love. Like they will, do all sorts of things to get the love of their life, So it shows a lot of like effort, directed efforts towards attaining that person in your life. And if you're a female, then it will represent that your husband, because Mars represents husband. So husband will have very Venus-like qualities. So husband can be quite good looking, very charming, very romantic in nature, can be wealthy. So, or very like he can be a good dancer, a good singer, or very artistic, creative. So these kind of things, and he will be fond of perfumes also. So these kind of things can be seen for a female. And again, the sign matters a lot in this. You have to see the sign. If suppose this is happening in the sign of Scorpio, so it can show that the spouse, like the wife, can be quite secretive, and with respect to their relationships. And in the sign of, like, for example, the sign of Taurus, so it can show that the person will be very focused on attaining wealth, and financial security will be very important for the person. So like this, you have to see and study the conjunction. So let's move to the next planet, and that is the planet Sun. So if we talk about Venus and Sun conjunction, so Sun, as we know, it represents father, it represents our father in astrology. It represents a king. It's a very royal planet, royal energy. So when Venus is conjunct Sun, firstly, it feels very burnt in the presence of Sun, especially if it is very close to the Sun, then it gets combust. And Sun has a very hot energy, just like Mars. And Venus, as we know, it's a Jal Tattva planet. It is very soft, very like it's exactly like the moon. Moon is also feminine, very soft, Jal Tattva energy. Similarly, Venus is also like that. And that is why it feels very burnt up in the presence of Sun. So such individuals, you will see that they can attract, with this, if you're a male, you can attract females who are very powerful, very authoritative, commanding, confident. Those kind of females will come in your life with this. And especially your wife, your girlfriend, you will see that, that will be the pattern. And they also feel drawn towards such women who are very confident, very bold. And with marriage, it also shows that it brings in a lot of fame in life, and everybody will have a lot of attention on their spouse, shows that as well. Like nobody will be able to ignore them because of their bright presence. And with this conjunction, we also see that their father, would have a lot of wealth, and father can have a lot of Venus-like qualities, like can be quite good looking, can be very artistic, creative, or can be involved in things related to Venus. So that is also seen. And with this conjunction, the native's eyesight also becomes weak, early on or with time, because Venus, Shukra is the karak of your eyes. And with this, I have seen that a lot of times, like, when their spouse or their girlfriend can come from a higher background, like a strong background compared to their background. So that can also be seen. And the place where they will stay, like the society or colony, it can be like a government society, like a place where There are a lot of government buildings, so in a place like that they could stay. And it also shows that they will really like to show off their house also to other people. Like they will be very proud of the place where they are staying. And if suppose this, again, the sign over here becomes very important to look at. Like if we see that Venus and Sun conjunction happens in the sign of, let's say, Libra, so here we see that Sun is no longer that strong because it gets debilitated, and Venus will be much stronger here. So Venus will dominate this conjunction then. And it shows that, with respect to love relationships, a native can feel a bit underconfident at times. They may lack self-esteem to approach, people when it comes to love and relationships. So that can be seen with this. And if suppose Venus and Sun conjunction is happening in the sign of Capricorn, then it shows that Saturn-like qualities will also come in this conjunction. So along with, having sun-like qualities, the spouse, the native spouse and like their girlfriend would also be very work focused, like she will be very disciplined, very routine oriented when it comes to very professional in attitude and in behavior. So the sign makes a lot of difference. You have to see what each sign represents and add those elements also in the conjunction. And overall, we see that with this conjunction, like with time, this conjunction performs better, because early on what happens when you are very young, so all these hot planets are also affecting us more. And as you like pass the age of 30, 28, so the effect of the planets also cool down a bit. So early on, this conjunction can give like ego issues, also ego clashes, and you might feel like you're always getting very bossy, very, commanding type of people in your life. But with time, this conjunction kind of cools down. But it is important to look at the Venus placement in the D9 chart as well, like how well it is placed, because that will also make a lot of difference, because that chart represents after married life. So that is very important to see. But overall, we can see a lot of things with this conjunction, like, even with respect to, because Sun represents things that we really like to show off, and we are very proud and confident about those things. So with this conjunction, it represents that you will see people who do very well in arts, theater, cinema also, because they have to project themselves on the screen. And for that, this conjunction is really good. And because it makes you very bold and confident when it comes to expressing yourself creatively, again, like all Venus related things. And with this, they also kind of feel very proud about their wealth, about the luxury they have in life, about their wife, about the marriage. So all Venus related things become a sense of pride for them, and they take a lot of ownership when it comes to those things. So that is how you need to study. But definitely, because Venus is a feminine energy and Sun has a masculine energy. So it shows that the wife will have very masculine qualities also, like being very commanding, assertive. So these are masculine traits. So you might feel like you have to always listen to the spouse. So that is quite possible with this conjunction. Let's move to the next conjunction, which is Venus and Moon. So we know that Moon is a very moody, emotional type of planet and very fickle-minded. So when it comes to Venus and Moon, it firstly makes the person very fickle-minded when it comes to relationships. They become quite indecisive at times. They are not able to decide with which person that they should go to. So firstly that. It also shows that you naturally attract women, and like if you're a male, you attract women and like females from your life who are very far away from your place, so if you are supposed staying in like Mumbai, the other person can stay in Delhi, or she can also come from a different country altogether. And if you are a female also, then also you can see this pattern that relationships might be long distance, or you might have to travel to get the other person. So that kind of a theme becomes prominent with this. It also represents that, the spouse, like if you are a male, so your wife or your girlfriend will have very caring, nurturing, moon-like qualities. And even their appearance can resemble like the moon. She can have a round face, a bit of plum structure, fair, in skin tone. So those kind of things are, come from the planet moon. And it also shows that the spouse, or like their life partner will be very soft, like they might feel a bit underconfident at times, with respect to taking or making decisions in life. And they might come to you, for help. So that kind of a thing also becomes prominent. But we see that with this conjunction, see, two water energies are coming together. Venus is also a Jal Tattva and Moon is also Jal Tattva planet. So in whichever house this conjunction is occurring, it shows that you have a lot of emotions, lot of like feelings attached to that house. Like that house becomes very prominent or pronounced when it comes to your affection, your feelings. And it also represents that a lot of fluctuations will happen in that house, in that area of life also. Like suppose this happens in the fourth house, so a lot of fluctuation and changes will happen in the home. And naturally, also with this conjunction, you will see like a lot of times you will shift and change your home, or you might live near a water place, like surrounded by water, like even a pond or like a river. That kind of a thing will be there around the place where you live. And mother has also a very prominent say when it comes to their marriage. There can also be interference from the mother side, or some mother related theme might become very prominent. And with this conjunction, we can also see, like especially in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi, it is shown that the if you are a male, then the native's spouse and their mother might not get along with this. So there is a kind of like an enmity with the mother-in-law and with the wife, so that like with your mother and your wife. So that kind of a thing is also seen with this conjunction. And it also makes the person very, very comfortable, very pampered also at times in life. Like they want things very easily, so they don't like to work hard towards that area of life also where this conjunction is happening. And in general, also, they are quite moody and they are very like feeling oriented when it comes to love and relationships. If they don't feel any connection, vibe is not there, they will not, chase the person anymore. So there might not be very logical, practical, concrete reasons as to why they're choosing one person and why not choosing the other. If somebody else looks at, two people, they might say that, oh, this person was better, why did you not choose them? But something else is going in their mind, and they take decisions very emotionally when it comes to love relationships. So with that also, they have to be a bit careful. Like sometimes they become quite impractical also at times. And with this conjunction, we also see that they are very fond of food and all like, very rich sources of food, like sweets and all, and even like drinks, like cold drinks and all these ice cream, all like milk related products also they really like to have and enjoy. So that is also seen with this. For wealth, this is a very good conjunction to have. Like it gives a lot of wealth, especially after marriage. And especially if you stay near a place which has a water body or which is surrounded by water, then also this conjunction gives a lot of wealth. So these are the things that you have to see. But again, the sign here becomes very important to look at. If this conjunction is happening in earthy signs like Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, then this conjunction still has some stability to it because earth signs have some grounding. But if it's happening in a watery sign, then the water energy is like 4 times more pronounced, because you have two water element planets and you are putting them in a water sign. So a lot of fluctuations you will see then, like major, major fluctuations. But earth signs perform well. If suppose this is happening in the sign of Libra or like Gemini, especially in Libra, we can say that they can be very, very creative, very artistic, naturally like talented people. In Gemini, it can show they can be very self-obsessed, very like they would love gossiping about a lot of things, and they are very, again, quick and fickle-minded when it comes to relationships, not able to decide. So like this, you have to study the sign and see and then decide. Moving to the next planet, so we will talk about Mercury. So if you have Venus Mercury conjunction, so Mercury, like we know that it's a friend, it's the young prince in astrology, very like bubbly, chirpy kind of an energy, very youthful in nature. So when Mercury gets involved with Venus, so firstly it shows that they want a very like friendship oriented kind of a relationship with their spouse or with their life partner. They want, that is the base, when you ask, I've seen so many times, like when people have this conjunction, like if you ask them what do they want in the partner, they say communication is very important for them, sense of humor is very important, and the person should be like a friend, to me. So these kind of words come up, in their conversations also. So you can see how well the conjunction works actually. And it also shows that with this, it can indicate multiplicity of relationships. And especially if it is happening in Mercurian signs only, like Venus Mercury in Gemini or Venus Mercury in Virgo, it can show multiple relationships because Mercury is the planet of multiplicity. And we can see this, like one chart that is coming to my mind is that of Ranbir Kapoor. So he has this conjunction, and he also has a lot of planets in Virgo, including Venus and Mercury in Virgo. So you can see the pattern in his life as well. And with a lot of other people, you can see this, happening. And especially if Rahu also gets involved with this conjunction, then it becomes even way, way more. But in general, it shows that such individuals are quite flirtatious in nature because Mercury represents your speech and Venus is a very sensual, feminine type of a planet. So they are very flirtatious, very romantic, very like chit chatty, that kind of a thing they want in the relationship also. So for them, if you ask them like what does romance and all mean for them, they're like, I need to have good conversations, I need to laugh a lot with the person. And that is also the sign that this conjunction is performing well. So till the time you have a lot of like good communication, good sense of humor, good like laughter, jokes, pranks and all happening in the relationship, then it shows that okay, the conjunction is performing well. But if there are miscommunications happening, if the other person is not able to get your humor, then it shows that somewhere there is some issue with, this conjunction. And it shows that naturally such people get attracted to people who are younger to them. So because Mercury is a very youthful, young kind of an energy. And it also indicates that they could be involved in relationships with their friends, in their friend circle, or mutual, or through mutual friends, or through some cousins, neighbors, so something like that also it can indicate. And again, just like Venus, Mars, also this conjunction makes a person very creative, very artistic when it comes to their writing skills. So they can write really, really well. Like if they write a book or if they write like a, any kind of like a research paper also, they will write it very creatively. So that is something which naturally, this conjunction blesses you with. Even when it comes to acting, like for actors also, this is a very good conjunction to have because they can mimic anyone, they can like creatively express, change their voice and also that is, it's very good for that. Even for money and for gains, this is a very good like a wealth yoke, that gets formed because you have two Rajasic planets combined, getting combined together. And it also indicates that the place where they will stay, like, their surrounding area could have like a lot of shopping complexes, and, places where there is like a mall, so those kind of things will be surrounding, or an ATM can also be there. Or like, small children can be there a lot in their colony, in their neighborhood. So these are all themes of Mercury. And it can also indicate some botanical garden or like, big parks and all. Like especially if it is happening in the sign of Virgo, then we can say that also. So this is a kind of like a theme, that gets associated with it. It also shows that because Venus represents the things that we like, the things that we love. So it indicates that they will always like and matlab for them, if they want to be happy, they will watch a very rom-com kind of a movie, to lift their mood up. If they want to be happy, they will do something like, they will play games, so all Mercury related things like reading, like playing games, or like even like chit chatting, gossiping with other people. So these are the things that really make them happy, and they feel very vibrant when it comes to like expressing themselves like this. And again, friends become very important, like a very important part of their life with this conjunction. And they can also get influenced at times with from their friends, so that is also shown. But there is one thing about this conjunction that in matters of love and relationships, at times, money related things also start coming into the way. Because we see that Venus gets debilitated in the sign of Virgo, and it is sitting with the planet that is ruling that sign. So, they start thinking, or they start becoming very calculative also at times when it comes to love and relationships, that what benefit I will have from this person. So things like that also start coming in their mind. Especially you will see if this is happening like in the sign of Virgo, or it is happening in Capricorn or Taurus. So these are all earthy signs. So in these, like they will be very money minded. They will be very practical when it comes to achieving, attaining love. They will not just go after any person. So every move is very strategic in nature. Suppose this happens in the sign of Sagittarius, or Pisces, like Jupiter ruled signs, or if Jupiter is also getting conjunct, Then it shows that along with that laughter, fun, they will also look at knowledge, wisdom should be there in the relationship. The other person should be able to guide them, motivate them in life. So those kind of like Jupiterian related themes also start coming into the picture. So like this, you have to study each conjunction. You have to see the degrees also, like how close or how far it is from each other. The more close the two planets are, the stronger the conjunction is. The more farther away they are, then the conjunction becomes a bit weaker. Moving to the next planet, which is Saturn. So if Venus and Saturn are conjunct together, then we see that firstly, it is a very good conjunction to have and a very like strong conjunction for wealth, especially if suppose Rahu also gets conjoined or aspects this conjunction, then it indicates like good wealth in life. But with time, because see, Saturn is a slow moving planet, it gives things with time, it makes you more patient. And it also indicates that the more hard work they put in life with this conjunction, the more wealth they get, the more happiness also they get. Like if they don't put in a lot of hard work, they will not be happy in life also, because you have to see that now Venus is getting conjunct Saturn. So Saturn is becoming the lucky charm for you, like for your happiness, for your comfort, for your wealth. So if you improve your Saturn, the Venus also starts getting improved naturally. With this conjunction, naturally, people feel attracted towards very mature, sensible, elder people who have a lot of wisdom in life, who have a lot of experience. You always want to associate yourself with people like that. You will not feel very comfortable with, like, you will not like to interact with people who are very frivolous, very like childish, because Mercury is very opposite of Saturn. So that was the kind of theme that you will see with this. And also they like things that are very old, traditional, even if they like songs or their hobbies will be very conventional in nature. They will like old songs, old movies instead of like new songs. And it also represents that they might use a second, hand vehicle, or they might have a preference for vintage cars. They might have a lot of vintage, old, antique things at their home, or they might love to collect such things. That can also be seen with this conjunction. And it shows that when it comes to marriage, when it comes to relationships, they are very traditional, provided there are no other planets aspecting conjunct this conjunction. It makes a person a bit traditional, a bit orthodox about their, they will not be very open-minded about certain things that maybe people with Venus Rahu conjunction will be very open with. And they would want somebody who is able to respect and be a part of their family. So those kind of things they will always look at. And also with this conjunction, we see if you are a male, so you will naturally attract a wife who can be elder to you in age or who might look a bit elder in age. She can be very traditional, hardworking, very professional oriented lady, and very mature, sensible, wise. So that is the kind of female that you will get, and also the kind of female that you feel naturally attracted towards. And also with this conjunction, we see that the career and marriage relationships are very, very strongly interlinked together. Especially how close this conjunction is, it shows if suppose it's 10 degrees apart, then it might not be the case. But if it's within 6, 7 degrees, it shows that as soon as they get married, something major will happen in their profession, or something happens in their profession and that has an impact on the marriage. Or when they first started their job, they entered into a relationship with someone. When they first got a promotion, something happened in the relationship. So that is like a thing which you can actually like predict with this conjunction. And I've seen it working in all the charts, it works. If there are like, if this conjunction is close, it works well. And with this conjunction, it shows that wealth is something that can take time, to come in their life, but it definitely comes. Marriage can also be delayed, but it definitely comes because this is the conjunction that is of a long-term, commitment kind of a thing, because Saturn represents long-term things that, you take time, you take patience, but there is a guarantee that is associated with it. So even with marriage, it can delay the marriage, it can give some breakages in relationships, but it definitely guarantees that, okay, with time you will get a stable marriage, And stability and longevity of marriage also increases with this conjunction, because Saturn, as we know, it's not a planet that is like Mars. Mars is a breaker in that sense. It's a very impulsive, very like cutthroat, cutting energy. But Saturn is a very stable, very mature, sensible kind of a planet. So it will never break off the relationship just like that. So for that, it is very, very good. And it shows that such individuals will be very committed, very loyal to the marriage and to their partner. They are very serious about it. They won't like just joke around it, and they will be very honest, very loyal towards their life partner also. So these are the kind of things that are seen. And also it can show that the place where they stay, where they live, they could have a lot of old people in their colony or in the area where they live, or they could live in a place where there is a lot of like it's very cold over there, so because Saturn also represents places that are very, very cold. So those are the kind of themes that you will see. And it also indicates that you can gain like wealth, and you can gain like your luck can also come, like especially Venus is also the ninth lord in your chart. So your luck and your wealth will come through old people, like it will come through Saturn related things. It can come through either like you get some advice from old people, or maybe your manager was very senior in age, so he or she was lucky for you in that sense. Or it can indicate that things related to like construction, from mining or from oil and gas, you kind of gained a lot from, you can gain a lot from those things. And also Venus is the 11th lord, so within that also it can indicate similar things. But again, the sign over here becomes very important. Like suppose Venus and Saturn is happening in the sign of Gemini or in Virgo, then we will see that, especially in Gemini, we will see that then Mercury related elements also come into the picture in relationships. And it will no longer just be very Saturn like. But if it is happening in Capricorn or in Aquarius, especially in Capricorn, then we will see that Saturn will dominate this conjunction, and the spouse and everything that I just said will match a lot with that. If suppose this happens in like Virgo, then it shows that the spouse will be very, very hardworking, very like perfectionist, when it comes to her work. So again, like depending upon the sign, the quality will differ. If it happens in the sign of, let's say, Taurus, then it shows that the wife will be very focused on financial security, financial wealth, and those kind of things will be like a major focus, or for her life. If it happens in the sign of Aries, it can indicate that she can be quite focused on her health and on improving her health with time. Again, a very hardworking, very like professional, dynamic kind of a person can come out of it. So like this, you have to study the conjunction in detail with the sign, with aspects falling on it. Like a Jupiter aspect on this conjunction will make the person even more wiser, even more mature and knowledgeable. Whereas a Mercury aspect coming on it will like, put Mercury related elements in it along with Saturn elements. Moving to the next planet. So we will now talk about Venus and Jupiter. So Jupiter, like we know, that is the planet of wisdom, knowledge, and religion, dharma. And so with Venus and Jupiter, we see that for such individuals, it is very important that the relationship should have very strong foundation of knowledge, of wisdom, and intellectual compatibility becomes very important, with this conjunction. They will always seek somebody who is matching their religious, cultural values, and is moral, is ethical in nature, principles. So all those kind of things become very important. They can also become very ethical when it comes to dealing with people, dealing with relationships. If there are no malefic aspects on this, only then. If suppose there is Rahu also in this conjunction, Mars is looking at it, then things will differ. But if it's a pure Venus-Jupiter conjunction, then it indicates such things. This is also a very good yoga for wealth, along with like Venus Mercury and Venus Saturn, because it shows that with time the person gains a lot of luck, a lot of abundance comes, in their life with marriage, and they gain a lot from the person, like they marry, and from the marriage itself, like a lot of good things, a lot of positivity, optimism comes, their way from marriage. And especially like if suppose you are a male and you have this conjunction, your wife can be very knowledgeable. She can have a lot of degrees or a PhD, or she can be a doctor also with this conjunction. And she can be a very good guide and a very good motivator for you in life. Like if you feel stuck in life, you just have to go to your wife and ask her advice. So in most of the cases, it will be correct. So that is how this works. But it shows that the relationship itself is built on a lot of good values, and like fundamental core values of, you and your partner should align with this. Even if you're a female and you're watching this, then also it shows that you will always seek somebody who can be a part of your family, who is able to fit in well with your family, respects your elders, like your parents and all. So those kind of like traditional values and all kind of become very important. And it also indicates a place where they will stay, like, that society or colony could have a lot of like knowledgeable intellectual people, and it can also show that they can have a school nearby, or a bank can be there near the place where they stay, or like a temple, a lot of temples and those kind of things can be there, like all Jupiter related significations can be there near the place where they stay. And with this, we also see that they will be very fond of having sweets, having like rich food, having like ghee and butter and, all these kind of things also. And even the spouse will be quite interested in, having such kind of foods, because Jupiter also represents, these kind of food items. And also with this conjunction, we see that after marriage, they can gain weight after marriage. Marriage can make them very comfortable. And it can, especially like if suppose we see that this is happening in the sign of Cancer or Pisces. So you can indicate that, like you can say that with marriage, they became very comfortable, very happy. So, weight gain also happened in that aspect. And with this conjunction, it is very essential that we look at the sign in which this conjunction is happening. Like suppose if it is happening in the sign of Libra or like Taurus, then Venus related themes will also come into the picture. Like along with somebody who is very knowledgeable, you will also want somebody who is also romantic, is also very like charming, so Venus related themes might also come. If Rahu gets involved with this conjunction, then again, like all Rahu related significations will also join in. You would want somebody who is not that traditional, also, like not that religious, also. So somebody who is kind of like a balanced person, or somebody who is very like, who thinks very differently about, such things, who does not care about religion or about the culture and all. So again, planets conjoining this will make a lot of difference. If suppose this happens in the sign of Sagittarius, then it shows that you will be very staunch about like about your values, about your principles and morals. Those things will be very strong in your mind because Jupiter is becoming more prominent here. So like this, it is very important to study the conjunction. Let's move to the next planet, that is Rahu. So if you have Venus Rahu conjunction, then what are the results? So Rahu, as we know, it's a very expansive, very like amplifying kind of an energy, and represents all materialistic things, big desires, and wants to achieve everything as fast as it can. So especially with this conjunction in the materialistic world, in Kali Yuga, it is a good conjunction to have. It is not at all bad. Many people I've seen like have this and they are doing very well in life. They gain a lot of wealth in life. So for wealth, again, it is a very, very strong, powerful yoga to have. And it shows that the person has big desires in life. They want the best of everything. They want the best car. They want the best brands, to be used by them. So that greed is there, for Venus related things. They want the best wife, also good looking spouse should be there. So those kind of desires are very, very like a lot of them are there. And it also indicates that there is not a lot of depth when it comes to the relationship part. Like relationships can appear quite superficial with this. They might only be focused on looks, they might only be focused on somebody's salary, somebody's profession. So because you are looking at certain things that the other person has that looks good on paper, but you're not really looking at the depth of things. So that is the downside of this conjunction, but definitely it indicates that with marriage, with like spouse coming into the picture, the person is able to attain these things, especially if they are running through the Rahu Mahadasha, like Venus Dasha or Antardasha of any of these planets, then it shows that the results will be given. Now, again, depending upon the sign in which it is happening, like suppose it happens in the sign of Taurus, it happens in Libra, then it indicates that these things would become even more prominent, more pronounced, because Rahu is now behaving exactly like Venus. Because Rahu is a planet, it is like a chameleon, you put it with any planet, it will become like that. It will start copying, mimicking that planet. And also it can indicate that you like to always experiment and try out with different, like experiment with different clothes. Like you will like things that are very, very different from the usual kind of things that people really like or prefer. So certain clothes or certain things can be very loud and very like blingy also. Like, they like a lot of glitter, a lot of show off. Even if they get something of a particular brand, they would want to make sure that the logo of the brand is very visible and everybody can see it. So those kind of things, like, so it's a lot of like show-offy kind of an energy that gets associated with this conjunction. And it also indicates that in love and relationships, they will be very passionate, very romantic, very flirtatious. They always they have a lot of pleasure-seeking desires when it comes to relationships. They can have relationships from people from different cultures, from different religions. So they naturally attract people of other countries also with this, I have seen. And it is better actually they marry somebody who is outside of their culture, outside of their caste, because then this conjunction performs well. If you have this conjunction very strong, very prominent, and you marry somebody who is of your own community, of your own culture, then it can be a bit problematic. So that is one thing that I have seen. It works well with other cultures, other things. And also it can indicate that the place where they stay, they could have like a graveyard near their home, or they could have like a place where like there could be a hospital near their home, or a mosque can also be there near their home. So these are the kind of things that they would be surrounded by. They can have neighbors or like not relatives, neighbors who can be of different culture, different religion, different background. Or somebody who is like a widow, a widower can also be there in their vicinity, like the place where they stay. And they can even have stairs, in their house where they stay. They will have desires to have a very big house, to have a very big car, very fancy things. So these are the kind of things they really like. And it can also indicate that with this conjunction, they can, like their paternal grandfather, so their Dadaji, would be very wealthy and he could have a lot of wealth, or he can be very like coming from an affluent background, or very creative, artistic, some Venus related qualities would be associated with him. And it also indicates that they will have a lot of strong desires to be settled like in a foreign country, or to like travel to foreign countries. So they will have a lot of like high obsession about that. So that is also indicated with this. But overall, we see that in today's day and age, it is not at all a bad conjunction to have. Maybe in some other yuga, it was not a great conjunction to have. And a lot of times people say that cheating and extramarital affairs and all is linked with this conjunction. That is also not true. You cannot see this conjunction in isolation, that just because it is happening in the chart, the person will cheat or will get cheated. You have to look at other parameters in the D9 chart also. What if in the D9 chart this is not happening? Or you have like some good planets in the seventh house. Venus is surrounded by like planets like Jupiter and all. So you have to look at the overall chart. Just by this one conjunction, we cannot, say those kind of like extreme things. And again, the sign over here becomes quite important, and the planets conjunct this conjunction will make a lot of difference, because if suppose Jupiter also conjoins this, Sun conjoins this conjunction. So again, you have like some sattvic qualities also coming into the picture. But if it's a pure Venus Rahu conjunction, then these things that I just mentioned become even more strong. So that is how you have to see. Moving to the last planet, that is Venus and Ketu. So Ketu, as we know, it is the planet of detachment, and it is the planet of moksha. It's a very like chaotic kind of an energy, like an energy that a lot of times people are not able to understand. People become very confused in Ketu time periods also. And it indicates that with Venus Ketu, either the person can be very detached, very like not at all caring about relationships, about love, or there is a lot of anxiety and fear around relationships or love, or it shows if this conjunction is performing really well. In those cases, it can indicate a very strong, very deep bond, like a very strong past life connection with the spouse, with the girlfriends, or with the wife. And that is why the bond is very deep. So one out of these three will definitely happen. But again, it depends on the dignity of your Ketu and how this conjunction is performing in the chart. We also see that with this conjunction that the person feels like feels very exhausted when it comes to love and relationships. They feel like, why do they have to go through this again? They feel like they've already done it so many times, or they are not interested. Like internally, that interest or desire does not come for expressing in love, being romantic in nature. Like Venus Rahu, Venus Mercury are very expressive, very romantic, but with Venus Ketu, they have a bit of problem expressing themselves like romantically. So that I have seen. And also with this conjunction, it can show that the more spiritual they become and the more they meditate and they focus on their internal self, they become more self aware, the better their relationships perform. And the more flamboyant or the more they show off, then or they gain they go for somebody who is very materialistic in nature, like a girl who is very materialistic, or they seek a lot of materialistic things from marriage, then this conjunction starts giving negative results. So it is best to be very simple, very like humble, and not have a lot of desires with this conjunction. And when they kind of leave that expectation, from from love, from relationships, then something good happens to them. So that is why you have to be very like detached when it comes to love relationships. The more attached they become, the worse this conjunction performs. And it also indicates that with this conjunction, you can have a natural liking and attraction for animals, for dogs, and for yoga, also for yoga and meditation. You could be actively involved in those things. And feeding dogs also becomes a very good remedy with this conjunction. And it also shows that when it comes to like love and relationships, they can be attracted to very unconventional or very eccentric people also at times, or they naturally attract females in their life who come from broken families, whose parents have been separated, or a lot of issues are happening in the family, or emotionally the girls have a lot of baggage that they are carrying from their past. So they have not fully been able to overcome the past, trauma. So those kind of people you attract, they come to you because they feel like you can heal them. So that becomes a theme. And with this conjunction, also if you are a female and you have this conjunction, it shows that as a female you will be very simplistic and you will not be very materialistic. You may not have a lot of very strong desires in life. So it kind of shows that even if suppose you had them previously, so there will be a transformation, there will be a change that will come in your life that will make you feel like, no, it is better, I become simple. And they don't have a lot of like those Rahu like desires in general. They like things that are very traditional, very rooted. And healing and like using herbs, for healing become very important with this. They can also be practitioners of like Ayurveda or Reiki healing, crystal healing. So those kind of things attract them a lot, or they could be learning about those things. That is also seen with this. And with this conjunction, it also shows that when it comes to love and relationships, early on they can have breakages, in love and relationships, or they might also have a lot of breaks in building their own house, like so that might also get delayed, can indicate that, or they have changed and shifted a lot of houses, or even like the place where they will stay, it can be in a very isolated kind of a place where there are not a lot of people around, or there could be a lot of dogs in that colony, in that society. And the place also would be in such a area where people might not be able to reach, or there is not a lot of connectivity that comes in that place. And they also don't have a lot of desire to have a very fancy kind of a home. They want stuff which is very simple, very basic, very minimal in their house. They don't want very big, big paintings, big, big pictures, or very fancy colors in their house. They want everything very simple, very plain. And with this conjunction, it is also seen that they get attracted to very weird designs, of things also. Like they might always select clothes, shoes, and all these Venus related things that are very peculiar that nobody will pick up. So other people might also look at them and be like, why did you pick up this, shirt or this shoe? It is not looking good. Because people are not taking it because it's not looking aesthetically nice, but they really like it for some reason. So that also I have seen with this conjunction. But overall, with this conjunction, that is what it is trying to teach you. It will get a lot of females from your past life. A lot of people will come who are coming in your life to actually teach you a lesson. And there is definitely a very heavy like karmic linkage which comes with this, especially if this is happening in the fifth house or in the seventh house, or like seventh lord, is Venus and gets conjunct Ketu. Okay, so now we will be taking up some of the comments that I had promised to take up. And let's start with, um, okay, Secretive Soul 4161, Smriti. Okay, so Smriti is asking this about Venus, Ketu, Mars, Sun conjunction in Virgo sign in fourth house for Gemini ascendant. Okay, firstly, four planetary conjunctions. Smriti, firstly, you have to see that how close these planets are to each other. Because if this conjunction, any of the two planets are also very far further away, so you can't call it a four planetary conjunction. And I see that it is happening in your fourth house in the Virgo sign. So we also see that a lot of energy of different houses are getting involved. So you have actually energy of five, six houses getting combined in one house. So obviously the fourth house is going to become very heavy, very high in energy. A lot of things, a lot of themes in your life will be around the fourth house, you will see, because that house is becoming now prominent. And I also see that it is the sixth lord is getting, combined in this. And then you also have the 12th lord getting combined in this. And we also have the fifth lord getting combined in this. So a lot of like different houses coming together. But it can indicate that you might have certain difference of opinions with your mother. So, okay, firstly, it can show that because sixth is coming in the fourth. It can also indicate that if you have a habit of feeding animals in general, or you like animals, so be careful around animals, and take care. Like, don't just, like go very near to them, and be cautious about, while you're feeding animals. It can also show that you might have a lot of like chaotic things happening in your home environment. Okay, like a lot of either like arguments or like some, like a lot of high energy stuff is always happening in the home. So you are somehow not able to get your peace of mind in the house itself. Okay, so with this conjunction, if you move a bit away from your home place, then this conjunction can give you relief, because we see that Ketu is also involved in this. So, you might feel a bit all over the place and you're not able to concentrate maybe on your studies, on your, like if you're doing a job, on your job, also in the home environment. So it is better to be a bit further away from the home. So that would be like a good this thing. With respect to marriage and relationships also, be a bit careful. Don't just impulsively jump into relationships or into marriage, or the first person that you speak to, you are, like just marrying them. Take your time, be patient around love and relationships. That would be my advice, because we see that Venus over here is under a lot of affliction. It is with Ketu, it is with Mars and Sun, and they're ruling malefic houses also. So be a bit careful around that. Okay, that would be my word of advice to you. Next we have by Harsh Valecha. He's asking about Venus, Jupiter, Ketu in the 12th house for Pisces ascendant. Okay, so it is happening in the sign of Aquarius. And we see that your ascendant lord, your 10th lord, 8th lord, 3rd lord, all are going in the 12th house. And this is a good yoga to have, like if you want to move abroad and, settle yourself in a foreign country and do some work related to like science, technology, innovation, something along those lines that is very futuristic in nature, because I see it as in the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius is all about the future, it is not about the past. And it is co-ruled by Rahu. So do something in AI or in like machine learning if you are into tech. So that would be really great for you. And career will definitely like, be really successful if you move away from your home city and from your home country. And especially if the right, dasha comes, it can really support you for that. Okay, let's move to the next comment by Khushi. So she's asking about Venus, Jupiter, Ketu conjunction in Virgo sign in the ninth house. Okay, so you have also mentioned the degrees. That is good. And I see that Venus is actually very far away from Jupiter and Ketu in this. So it is no longer a three planetary conjunction, firstly, Khushi. And I see Jupiter and Ketu conjunction is very strong because it is at the exact same degrees. Okay, and it is in the sign of Virgo. So what this conjunction is doing is that, and your 10th house is also involved in this, right? And your 12th house is also involved in this. So professionally, I'm not sure what exactly you're doing or what you want to do. But with this, a very good area could be like if you go in the field of microbiology or something in biology itself, like, in which you are doing research, like research related to microorganisms, like botany, those kind of things. So that can be like a good area of attaining your higher education degree in that. It can also indicate certain breaks can come while you are attaining your higher education, so that can also be seen with this conjunction. And it can also indicate that your father might, like with father, you might have certain difference of opinions, like with respect to certain things, like certain beliefs, or your way of, how you are seeing life and how he's seeing life might be a bit different. So that can also be indicated with this conjunction. And it also shows that, the more you keep learning and the more you keep uh, you know putting yourself in a way where you are gaining, like learning something new every day, like the more number of books you read, keep yourself updated, the better your bhagya luck performs with this. So you should never, like, the more you visit temples also, you become spiritual in life, the better the ninth house will perform. Okay, so this was about this conjunction. Next, we have Kingenergy, who is asking about Venus Moon Rahu conjunction in Cancer sign in the 12th house. Okay, so it shows you're a Leo ascendant and a lot of like high water energy in the 12th house. Okay, one thing that's coming to my mind is that you can be a very good romantic author. Like if you really like writing books, something, you can be very imaginative when it comes to like creating romantic scenes, like even somebody who is like a director and you kind of chart out that, okay, in this scene this should happen. So I see a lot of like high imagination, like, so that can be used positively if you do something, around those lines. It can also show that the person can become very obsessed about love, about relationships, very romantic in nature. It can make the person very, very romantic, very flirtatious also at times. And it shows that if you move away from your home place to a foreign country, that is very good for wealth, happiness, everything in life. Because we see that Rahu from the 12th house will aspect on the 4th house. And especially a place which is near water, like that can be a place where, if it's a foreign country, it's near water, that can be a place where which can be very good to get like a peace of mind. I think your peace of mind is really coming the more you move away from your home city. The more you stay inside your home with family, you don't get your peace of mind. So this is that kind of a conjunction, but very creative. I see somebody who can do wonders, if they use their mind in the right direction creatively. Next, we have Ourna 88. Okay, they are asking about Venus and Rahu conjunction in Cancer sign first house. So very similar kind of a conjunction, but we don't have moon over here, but the sign of Cancer is the same. And now this is happening in your ascendant, right? So it shows that firstly, a lot of focus will be there on your beauty, your face. You will be very self-obsessed about your personality and everything. It shows that. Secondly, it shows that with marriage, with relationships, a lot of luxury will come in your life, a lot of good things, comfort will come in your life with that. And if you are a male, it shows that you will be quite like, not obsessed, but you will be after your wife. Like you will be really into her, And even if you are a female, it shows that marriage will be like a very important thing. You can be very obsessed about love and relationships in general. Again, it makes the person very creative. It can make the person very creative, very flirtatious, very sensual. Romance and all these things will be very, very important to you. And I also see that in this conjunction, you have the fourth lord, okay, and the 11th lord is also coming in the ascendant. So again, it can indicate that you might have to move away from your home city, from your home country to, get better things in life. And your gains, and your like desires will get fulfilled through marriage. So it shows that also. But again, you have to look at where moon is placed in the chart because that is the dispositor of this conjunction and how strong this conjunction is happening. So those two things you have to look into. So next comment is by Ambitious Healer. And they are asking about Venus, Ketu, Mercury, Sun conjunction in Cancer sign in the 7th house. So again, firstly, you have to look at it's a four planetary conjunction. Very heavy energy is coming in the seventh house, and it is becoming very heavy in terms of the water element because it's the sign of Cancer. And you have to look at the degrees firstly, how close these planets are to each other. Because if this is very further away, then we can't say it's a very strong four planetary. But in general, because I see that Venus over here is under affliction, it is with Ketu, it's with Sun. If it's close together, so you should definitely firstly wait to get the right person in life. And because seventh house is house of marriage, partnerships, even if you are doing like business, for example, so you should be very patient with respect to those things, especially like till the age of 30 at least. So that age is something which you cross, so the planets become a little bit, they cool down a bit. And I also see that over here, your 10th house, is involved in this conjunction. And the fifth house is also involved here. And I also see that the ninth house is involved. So a lot of like mixture of different houses coming together. And also the sixth house, yeah. So fifth, sixth, ninth, tenth, all are getting combined in the seventh house. Professionally, also, again, it can give a few like fluctuations, breaks, because Ketu is there, sign of Cancer is there. So again, like stability can be attained only after certain time period. But in general, for this conjunction to actually like really see, you have to look at Moon also, because Moon is the ultimate deciding factor. And also, I would advise you to look at the nakshatra lord, like in which nakshatra this is happening. Is it happening in Pushya? Is it happening in Ashlesha? If it's happening in Ashlesha, you look at Mercury is, already placed there. So that in a way is good. Like if you have that nakshatra lord also placed over there, then it shows that, okay, some strength, some stability is there. If it's happening in Pushya, you look at Saturn, where Saturn is placed. But moon position definitely needs to be seen. But it shows that it is showing me like a lot of confusion, in life in general. Like you could be very confused about a lot of things in life, like what to do, how to do, because there's a lot of chaos happening in this house. So to actually really streamline, this conjunction, firstly, it is best to improve Ketu, because you see Ketu is getting conjunct these three planets and the sign is also Cancer. So try to like become a bit more calm, stable, patient, meditate, become more self-aware and be clear as to what you want. Don't start too many things at once. Okay, just focus on one thing at a time and then finish it and then only take the next thing in life. So I'm telling you in like with regard to everything, like with regard to like marriage, with regard to career, so I see that a lot of times you are focusing too much energy in like a lot of things and then nothing comes out of it. Okay, so try to like focus your direction, like focus your efforts, everything to one thing, stick to one thing, and then focus on next things. Okay. Next, we have Ramcharitra. So they are asking about Venus, Mars, Sun in seventh house in Taurus sign, and they are saying many say it's not a good conjunction for marriage. Again, like this is just your D1 chart. I don't know about the D9 chart, what planets are placed in the seventh house. A lot will depend on that. Where is Venus placed, in the D9 chart? But this conjunction, I also see that it's not a very strong three planetary conjunction, because Mars is at 1 degree, Venus is at 29. They are just very, very further away. Okay. But Sun and Venus conjunction is still a bit stronger, even though like not very super strong, but it's a very loose conjunction overall. Okay. But in general, it shows that because these three planets are still present in your seventh house, and out of these two, we see that out of these three, we see that two are like hot planets, like Mars and Sun. And seventh house, as we know, it's a very cold house, like it's, where Saturn is exalted. And so there is an element clash, firstly, that is happening. So cool down, like wait a bit before marriage, like, before you enter into a partnership with somebody, like at least like 30, 32, you should like wait. And it also indicates that with marriage, like your focus, would be there on like having like good financial security. That is something that you will look for, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to like relationships. And it also indicates that it can make the person a bit materialistic also with respect to, having the best things in life. And you want those things from marriage. It can show that as well. And it also shows that you always feel attracted towards people who are very confident, who are very charming, very charismatic personalities. So that is the kind of person you would always like go towards, and in your life. But Venus is strong over here in the sense that it is already in its own house. And I also see that Mars could be your Darakarka in this case, because since it's at 1 degree, but I don't know the entire chart. But it definitely shows that like money related themes, could be coming up in the marriage, in the relationships. That is something that, you need to be careful about. And I also see that the first lord, is going in the seventh house. So it shows that you will have a lot of like, firstly, say and dominance in your marriage and, matrimonial matters. And you are not somebody who will listen to, like, you are very stubborn about, I feel, relationships in general. Like, you don't listen to other people's advice. You do whatever you think is right, for you. And I also see that it's the 10th lord is also getting involved over here. So definitely with changes in profession, changes in, like, some promotion might have happened. So marriage or, some business would happen around that time. Like marriage and career would be quite interlinked together. That is also seen over here. But in general, I think with this, you should be very patient when it comes to relationships, not jump, be impulsive about relationships. Okay. If you are very impulsive, you think very quickly, act very quickly, then, you are messing up with the energy of this conjunction. So that is what it is trying to teach you. Okay. So we also have another one, which is by Sweekriti Singh. Okay, so she's asking about Venus Mars conjunction in the seventh house in Mercury, in Gemini for Sagittarius ascendant, Jupiter in the first house. Okay, so Jupiter aspect is firstly coming, on the seventh house. That is good, because Jupiter's aspecting is a big blessing, in the chart. And I see that Venus and Mars is in the sign of Gemini. So it shows that firstly, you are seeking somebody who is very firstly very passionate, very romantic, in terms of the partner. Somebody who can really make you laugh, is like a good friend to you, has a good sense of humor. So that is your kind of a person. And also somebody who's very intellectual, like intellectually smart, so that intelligent, like, that is the kind of person. And it also indicates that, again, because Mars is also getting conjunct Venus, even though it's not a very strong conjunction, Sweekriti, because it's like 9 degrees, away from each other. But still, because Mars is there in the seventh house, okay, and in the sign of Gemini, so be a bit careful about the words, like your communication in marriage and relationships, how you speak, how you put across your message, because it can indicate that at times the person can be a bit blunt, very straightforward with respect to their communication, which might not be liked by the other person. So being a bit diplomatic and, putting across your things very carefully can be like a good approach for this. But in general, it tells me that there is a lot of like you will have a lot of passion and, romance in the relationship, and a lot of like strong feelings for each other. You really enjoy that and you really want that in the marriage. Like that chemistry should be there for you. That is very important for you. And it also shows me that like the kind of person that you will eventually get, because Mars is also your husband. So that person will also be like that. Because like Venus energy is there. I see Mercury also there, like Gemini, and also like somebody who's intellectual, smart, funny, like is witty, so that kind of a thing. And next we have this comment is from ALHIFC 3858. So she's asking about where and how will I meet my husband? Scorpio, ascendant, Sun in Leo, seventh lord is Venus, and it is in the 10th house in conjunction with Sun and Jupiter. Okay, so you have Sun, Venus, Jupiter in the 10th house in Leo. And yeah, I've already made the video on that. But so it definitely firstly shows, since Venus is in the 10th house, and the 10th lord is also over there. So workplace, like work area related things become very, very prominent with respect to meeting, your future spouse. It could also show through your father or like father's family, side of family. Through that also the person can come. Or it could also indicate, yeah, like Yeah, like through family only, like through father's family, or like through your own family also, it can show, or through the workplace. Like it mainly shows me that. And next conjunction we have is okay, the unknown shepherd. They have asked about Venus, Sun, Saturn, Mercury, all in the sign of Gemini in the sixth house. Okay, I see many people have like four planetary conjunctions. They are really heavy, because it really shows that your entire focus of the chart is shifting towards that house. That house becomes very important. And again, you have to see the unknown shepherd, that how close, firstly, this conjunction is, like, how close Venus is to these planets. Then only you can decide, okay, which planets to consider, how to study that. And the good thing is that we know, okay, it's in Gemini and Mercury is also there. So you have a very strong Mercury, firstly. And Saturn is also strong in the sixth house. It performs very well in the sixth house. That is also good. So malefics perform well in the sixth house. Even Sun is good in the sixth house. The only thing that is not good here is Venus. Okay, because Venus gets it gets naturally debilitated, in the sixth house, and it is in the Maran Karak Sthana. So it feels like it's dying even in the sixth house. And it's also with Mercury in the sign of Gemini. Okay, so firstly, it tells me that you are somebody who is very good with numbers, very calculative, very practical, logical. Everything that you do in your work is also very like systematically organized. You think very quickly about things. Like you're able to get quick solutions to things. It makes the mind very sharp because it's happening in Gemini. And it also shows that Mercury is strong over here, and you have a Vipreet Raj Yog also getting formed over here because Sun is ruling the eighth house. It's coming in the sixth house. So that is a Vipreet Raj Yog. And you also see Mercury strong there. So it's a very powerful yog that is getting formed. It's good for clearing like competitive exams, of like defeating your enemies. So for those kind of things, it's really good. But to really improve and to get the most out of this conjunction, I would really advise that when it comes to anything in life, you just have to be like really, because your ascendant lord is also getting involved in this, right? Because you are a Capricorn ascendant. So that is also getting involved here. So the more disciplined, like the more you have a good routine in your life, you do things in a structured, systematic manner, the better this conjunction performs. Okay, because sixth house is also the house of your like routine, like activities, and Saturn is also planet that really loves routine. So that can really be, put in the very good direction if you are, using the energies of these planets together. And it also shows me that early on, like some struggles can be there with regard to Venus related matters because it's also the fifth lord. So like breakages in relationships or those kind of things can be there. And Venus is under affliction, over here because it's with Sun and Saturn. And Sun is ruling a malefic house, which is the eighth house. So even though Saturn is your ascendant lord, it's a positive planet for you, but still it is under affliction. So again, with respect to love and relationships, be a bit patient, be a bit calm. Don't just jump into things very quickly. Take your time, assess, and only then, go for that. Again, like if Venus comes under affliction, that is like a common, message that is there for everyone, that don't impulsively jump into relationships. Take your time and, cool down a bit and then only decide what to do. But with this conjunction, you can also do very well in areas related to like, a lot of like data analytics, marketing related things, statistics, or anything to do with even coding for that matter. So all like in which you're using your mind, your intellect a lot, like really smartly, so that it is very good for that. And it also shows it is a chart that will grow with time. Four planets are coming in the sixth house. It will become better with time, but a lot of hard work, a lot of like you're a hardworking person, you have to involve a lot of hard work in everything that you do in your life, whether it is love, whether it's career, relationships. You have to like fight for things. It shows that also, but it shows that you have a good fighting ability, you have a good fighting spirit, because sixth house is strong, Mercury is strong. Okay, now let's come to the next comment that is by Maverick Rebel. They are asking about Venus, Mars, Jupiter in Cancer sign in the ninth house, Pushya Nakshatra. I hope all these three are in Pushya Nakshatra. You said just Pushya Nakshatra. Okay, so first it shows me that it can indicate late marriage. Okay. And over here, Venus is also your seventh lord. So late marriage can be indicated, but lot of prosperity, luck, bhagya, rises after marriage. So because it's Pushya Nakshatra. So, this is a very powerful nakshatra to have actually. And I also see that you have the ascendant lord also, with Pushya, in Pushya, first and seventh. So you can also, there is a very strong chance of meeting the spouse, like your life partner, on some foreign travel, through some higher education, through some like same religious faith or belief, system, some religious institute, something like that, could be like a theme. And the wife will also be very like, she will be very like motivating to you, like very motivating, very encouraging kind of a lady. Like she will push you to do well in life. That is like you are really lucky to have this kind of a person, who is there for you, will stand for you for everything that you do. Like really good guide, mentor, very sensible, mature person. So that is, but definitely the magic really starts happening when you get married. If you really want this to work the best, just get married. But marriage is a bit late because Pushya, you will see that it does not give like really early marriages. Then we have another one by Naveen Gupta. He is asking about Venus Saturn conjunction in Aquarius for a Taurus ascendant. Okay, so you're a Taurus, so this is happening in the 10th house. And firstly, it shows that, again, career relationships linked very, very strongly together. As soon as you get married, something major will happen in your profession, like professional upliftment, status, rise, everything will happen post marriage. Late marriage is usually indicated like around the age of 30, 32. And the more like late you marry, the better this conjunction performs. It also shows that spouse will also be very professional, very hardworking, mature, traditional kind of a person. But it gives a very long-lasting marriage. Saturn is strong over here, it's with Venus. So like you are somebody who's very like devoted, committed, loyal, faithful to the, relationship. And not like somebody who kind of just breaks things on very frivolous things. So for that, it is very good. Like for commitment, it's a very good conjunction to have. Okay, so I think that is it. Yeah, hopefully I have covered all the comments, okay, that all of you had asked. And I hope that, all of you liked this video and learned something new from this. So if you still have anything that you've not understood or you want to ask, you can ask them in the comments below. And I will see you all the next time. And thank you so much for watching. And before going, please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have, learned anything great from this. And thank you.